do you tell me that a man of God is sending you pictures of his private part? How many people watch that thing? Okay. So you know that I'm not just talking. He's sending you pictures of his private part. And then he calls you in the morning. You still pick. He says he'll be calling me to pray for me. What kind of prayer is that? You didn't block him after the first picture. You didn't block him after the second. He's still calling you to pray with you in the morning. And then he said, come and see me in the office, and you now went. You see, I've told you before, heaven is going to shock many people. Those of you that are obsessed with giftings, obsessed with numbers, you think that because there's a crowd somewhere, God is there. A crowd and the lack of a crowd, either one, is not a sign of God's validation. When I was crying here 2 Sundays ago that sexual immorality wants to finish the church, they will post video online. People will be attacking me. Am I your problem? Am I your problem? A man of God now interviewed a lady. Interviewed a lady, and she told a story of how she went to a church, and the man of God did not only drug her, he raped her. Sit down, brethren, sit down. He raped her. When I was shouting 2 weeks ago, they would say, he's on his tumor. He should name one person. You think I will talk? If you need me to name one person, then you don't know, you don't have discernment. Anybody who is walking with Jesus now, when they hear me speak, they know that I'm not the enemy of the church. When I'm talking, a burden is crying. They had to wrap that girl's face. One person on social media said, what this man has committed is a crime. The girl should name him. You don't know rape is a crime. You should name him. Joshua will tell you, we were in Abuja. My friend was telling me about details we had. A pastor, a lady in his congregation. A lady in his congregation. Her marriage was having problem. And then they were no longer staying together. The husband now, because he has a child with the woman, was going there from time to time to help her do 1 or 2 things. One day, something told him, check your wife's phone. He opened it. See chat with pastor. One of the chat was, did you enjoy the sex yesterday? With pastor. The boy almost lost his mind. Almost lost his mind. Yet the stars are glowing. Ooh. They are looking robust. But you see, what I came to tell you is that there's a harvest coming. And in that day, the God of the harvest, the tares will be the first to be removed from the field, and they will be gathered and what? And burnt. You know, the fearful thing about that thing is that it is only at the end it will now become obvious. Only men of discernment can survive in this age. When I was teaching on the circumcision, I told you that there are 3 kinds of people that operate in the realm of the circumcision. And I was speaking in the context of Joshua chapter 5, where by the time they needed to enter into their inheritance, God needed to circumcise them first before they could fight his battles. And I told you that those 3 kinds of people, you have the victim, you have the accomplice, and you have the faithful. Who is the victim? The victim is the one that suffers because of another person's failure or inability to win their personal battles. So because they have not won their personal battles, even though they are circumcised, I showed you during the circumcision that it is possible to have been circumcised and yet end up as Achan. You remember? Achan was circumcised, but when he saw Babylon's gold, his appetite had not yet been put on that check. He still stole the abomination, even though he was circumcised. So there are people who, though they have been circumcised, they have experienced the circumcision of the heart, they have come into the enclave that is called the church, but in their personal battles with appetites, with ungodliness, with unrighteousness, with immorality, they are losing those battles. What they now do is that they now begin to abuse other people. So the mistreated wife in a marriage, or the mistreated husband, even though both of them are Christians, they are victims, because the spouse or the partner has not won their personal wars with all their excesses. The difference between a victim and an accomplice is that an accomplice is the one that chooses to partner with a man that has chosen the wrong side in battle. That's an accomplice. Because there's a battle. A battle is consistently happening in the realm of the spirit. It's the battle between righteousness and unrighteousness, between good and evil, between wickedness and justice, between light and darkness. It's an ancient battle. An accomplice is one that deliberately knows that this man has chosen Satan's side in battle and decides to partner with him. So a lady who she has told herself that it's part of honor to give her pastor her body is not a victim. She's an accomplice. A young man that joins his pastor, they go for meetings and he's joining his pastor to fake miracles. He's not a victim. He's an accomplice. When I even listened to that sister story, at some point she was a victim. At some point she became an accomplice. There's no way you want to tell me that story, because how do you tell me that a man of God is sending you pictures of his private part? How many people watch that? Okay. So you know that I'm not just talking. He's sending you pictures of his private part. And then he calls you in the morning, you still pick. He says he'll be calling me to pray for me. What kind of prayer is that? You didn't block him after the first picture. You didn't block him after the second. Is he calling you to pray with you in the morning? And then he said, come and see me in the office, and you now went. What did you think you were going to do? To play Ludo, to read Job? You now went again. And then he said, he gave you the same thing he used to drug you the first time. And you drank it. You see, brothers and sisters, the reason I'm saying these things is that don't let anybody gaslight you that you are too hard. Don't let anybody put you in that kind of box. Because if she had taken her stand now, they'll say she's not social. God punish social. What rubbish. You are working in a place, your boss will come and be pecking everybody in the office. Then you put your cheek down. He said that's how we do in our office. What? Are you part of Sodom? No boundaries. Because the church has become a place where anything goes. And you know the thing about the task, they think they have succeeded. That they've carefully hidden themselves. But the harvest is coming. You see, bro, the reason I'm doing this series is to beg us, RCN Worry, don't be fake. I can kneel down here and beg you, make sure what you have with God is true. Don't be fake.
Believe me when I say God is true.
You can escape being fake in this life, but once the cycle is completed, the reapers will be released. And you know the thing about the reapers? They are trained to differentiate between the wheat and the tares. You cannot deceive them. Because the reapers are not men, they are angels. The man at the beginning is the Lord of the harvest. He is Jesus. His enemy is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age. The field in which he sowed his seed is called the world. His servants that came to him and said, Master, I've cried like that before. I say, Lord, how can this thing? You don't know what I know. How can this thing still be flourishing when it is being powered by immorality? How? The master of the field said, don't worry. Don't worry. The end of the age will come, and at that time the reapers are not emotional. He said this enemy who sowed them is the devil. Jesus is explaining the parable now. The harvest is what? And the reapers are who? Angels.